I remember when I first saw the show, I thought this was, you know, like an old woman, because it wasn't just makeup and all of that, but it was the whole mannerisms of what you did, and you know, you acted like a 70-year-old woman.
That character on All American Girl, the grandma, was really a tribute to years of doing my mother on stage in San Francisco in improvisational comedy. I worked with a company that did long-form improv based on the news. So, and usually the news is pretty depressing. You know, it's like, so, for example, if, you know, they said do something based on the Columbine shooting. Well, you know, everybody's backstage going, ah! But, you know, if I threw my mother in, pretty much it was always going to be an honest portrayal of how my mother would deal with that situation. And it would be funny, but it wouldn't be making fun of.
Right.
You know? And so that's, I can't tell you how I owe so much of my career to my mother. Growing up, it was like I thought, why can't she speak English better? But then, years later, it's like, thank God she had that accent. It wasn't really just my mother. It was like a Korean kimchi version of my mother.
Right.
But, you know, the important thing was making her a real person. And when I made her, when she was real for everyone, the Korean community embraced her and thought that I was totally like half Korean or Korean with a husband named Hill. But, you know, I'd travel around. I was in London and people would say, I mean, it was everybody's grandma.
You have been in every damn show that's ever existed, I think, as guest appearance. Seinfeld, Reno 911, which I was a huge fan of. Are there any of those guest appearances that are particularly memorable for you?
I guess they're all memorable for different reasons. I worked for a season on a show called Maybe This Time that I don't think anybody watched, which is why it was canceled. But the reason I wanted to do that was Betty White. I got to work for a season, 22 episodes with Betty White. And that woman, even then she was in her late 70s. She was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I grew up watching her. And on that show, because of her, like the guy from, I mean, there were all these like older actors that I grew up watching would come on as guest stars. It was like every week, oh my God, you know, Mr. Ed is on. No, Mr. Ed was the horse, right?
Yeah. What was the guy's name? I was old enough to watch that show, believe it or not.
I can't remember. See, that's what age is like. But, you know, that opportunity was wonderful. And Marie Osmond, you know, I knew the Osmonds from my childhood, too. So it was kind of cool to have these, like, people, being surrounded by people that you saw on a little tiny television, you know, growing up, that was maybe black and white. It's kind of cool. So that was good. All American Girl was really wonderful. I was just watching speaking of people, Carol Channing came to see us do. She's a friend of Betty White. And that was another one of those moments where I'm like, Carol Channing! Oh my God! The other thing, the movie that really, like, I have an amazing memory of was Rising Sun, where I was a coroner, and it was with Sean Connery and Harvey Keitel, my big scenes, and Wesley Snipes, who, you know, I love him, but I wasn't that excited about Wesley. I was really like, in my head going, I'm with 007, I'm playing with James Bond.
He wasn't James Bond either.
No, he wasn't. But he was charming and wonderful, and he sang to me in breaks, and he kissed me on the cheek.
Oh, did you have an affair with him?
I wanted to, but he really isn't, you know, involved with his wife.
I know.
And then Harvey Keitel, not to be outdone, sang me a song and kissed me on this cheek.
Is that why your cheeks are so dirty and never washed them all these years?
Never washed them ever. That was a great experience. Really nice. And when the movie came out, I was on the front page of every, like, I don't know why, but they would use the shot of me and Sean in the press. So it was me and Sean leaning over a body. And it was like, you know, my friends were out, who did you pay to get that shot in all of the reviews? That was a good time. Those were good times, man.
Yeah.
My life is fabulous.